Welcome to Smash Writing. I'm Paul. This is Justin. Today we're back with another we are back with another DC animated film, Gen13, which is just the third one of this 45 bazillion idea that Justin's like,
call it what it is.
Let's do it.
7-year adventure.
Yeah. Without further ado,
we certainly had to not really jump through hoops. You could find Gen 13 on YouTube.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty easy.
This is the only place you can find Gen 13.
Yeah, that was
You can't buy the DVD. You can't find it streaming anywhere. Because it sounds like it was a Disney Warner mix-up. Which is never good for the consumer.
Which also banned it from being released in the United States. And
yeah, it was like released in Australia or the UK on VHS. That's about it.
Yeah, so I mean, but funny thing is, like, usually type in the movie and try to Google it and find it, and then it's not there. No, just go on YouTube, Gen 13, and click it, watch it.
Thank you to this person for doing all that, for remastering their copy they had.
Oh yeah, that's true. So, without further ado, get us into the plot.
We read about Stephen Callahan, who's Gen 12 subject who'd gone rogue. They want him dead or alive because he's been Gen Factor manifested, and which means he's a superpowered being. And him and the woman don't make it. The boy runs off with the little baby girl, and we jump to modern day with I believe her name is Caitlin Fairchild waking up.
Yep.
She's late for class because her roommate turned off her alarm clock.
Okay, this roommate's a bitch on like all levels, just so you know.
She's interrupted by a member of National Security and being offered a scholarship for Project Genesis because of her academics and who her father was. But she doesn't really seem interested because she's in the middle of a semester, and she'll call him if she changes her mind. Which happens after she shows up to teacher and her roommate locks her out for 15 minutes because her roommate's getting lucky.
You got a condom? Of course you don't.
15 minutes.
15. Your punishment is 15 minutes.
So off to Project Genesis she goes, where we meet Roxy and Grunge. This is his name. And we meet some of the instructors. Helga, who does not like smokers. Or much of anything, probably.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we meet two of the people, I think Matthew and the woman's name I think was Lynch. No, Lynch was the guy who's trying to interrupt him.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the woman's name was. Matthew and woman.
Matthew.
But, so they're training, they're learning. And while they fall asleep, they're taken away in pods and are
incubated.
Gen Factored, experimented on. And now everyone's waiting to see if they'll take two Gen Fat to the experiment. Which happens to, I completely forgot to do this.
What did you forget to do? Justin forgets to do something.
I fucking knew it. I knew it. Anyway. Which happens the next day, Caitlin is not feeling very well. Her headaches are back. And, Lynch is trying to, question her because we meet a guy named Lynch who's trying to break up this whole thing. He knows that they're going to be doing Gen Factor experiments on these kids and does not like it, despite the fact that Matthew and the woman are saying, no, we're not, while they're doing experiments on them in the basement at the moment.
We're not doing anything like that. Relax.
So, her, Caitlin gets real sick, and the headaches get to the point where she leaves her room in the middle of the night, trying to find the infirmary, and she is led, in a way, to an office that has files on her father and Steve Callahan. And when she's doing that, Roxy and Grunge show up. And then the guards show up, and they start beating them for being out of the being in an area they're not allowed in. When Fairchild goes through her changes and becomes this super-powered being, and starts beating all their asses, and escapes with Rocky and Grunge. So now the building goes on lockdown, the remaining students are rendered unconscious, and all hunt is on for these three. And they really want Fairchild because she's mutated kind of deal. But they get knocked out. The two get knocked out with a grenade, and she gets knocked through a wall and outside. And chased by helicopters, and then has to take them down manually.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
And then she fights off a robot who's being piloted by Helga. And that goes down the hill.
Literally.
But she gets like a vision of her friends being tortured back at base. And first it's for information, but when the woman leaves to go deal with an incoming fighter jets being held by Lynch who are trying to save the children, Matthew keeps the torture going because he knows that's a way to activate the gen in them. And the next one to change is Grunge. He becomes... I thought he was Metal Man.
Yeah.
But he's actually more absorbing guy. He can absorb whatever he touches and take that on.
Yeah, I caught that too because I'm like, when he does his manifest, he's hooked up to that machine. So
yeah.
He copies that material, which...
Then he copies like a steel wall and then her arm and then rocks.
Stone, yeah.
But the last one to change is Roxy. She'll be changing here in a little bit. But for the moment, though, they Grunge and Fairchild have to fight off this last bit. And then three of them and a pilot cram themselves into a little helicopter and start flying away. But Matthew cuts them off, kills the pilot because through telepathy. And as they're plummeting to the ground, that's when Roxy gets her powers. She can kind of control gravity and make things levitate. And then the big 3-on-1 fight happens. And they stop just short of killing Matthew when Lynch shows up. Actually, before that, back at the base, the woman has put all of the students into a cryogenic freezing and is taking them and loading down the base with explosives. She's just going to blow it up and bail.
Clean slate.
Now back at the fight, Lynch shows up and tells us the big... It was not a twist. Matthew and her are siblings, brothers and sisters. And that at the beginning, during the escape, when the boy lost her in the river, Lynch found her and gave her to her uncle so she would be safe. And Matthew was experimented on, and that he became Threshold. So, as they're about to leave, the bombs start going off. Matthew stays behind and dies in the rubble, and they fly off safely. There's a great scene where Fairchild is trying to get out of the helicopter to save him, and he's not letting her. And then Roxy's not letting her, so you have these two telepaths pulling her and keeping her in the helicopter.
Yep.
And as they're leaving, Lynch requests that they join him so they can actually be a force for good and learn how to become proper superheroes. And that's Gen13.
The end.
And that's what I knew that I forgot to look up. Roxy voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's Tommy Pickles. And Buttercup.
Nice.
From Powerpuff Girls.
Nice. Well, I mean, you had Mark Hamill.
Yeah. I knew I heard that voice before. I knew she was a Rugrat. I just couldn't remember which one she was.
Now you know. Okay, so it was not a long movie. I think it was like the longest one so far of the 3.
Yeah, I think it was like hour 21.
Yeah. Meanwhile, all the other ones were like an hour and 10. The pacing was quick. I didn't enjoy the pacing. Like it was pretty much them training and that's it. Finding themselves. Cool. Got to the point. Then, I start to look at the other entertaining scenes where I'm like, they definitely went more towards the adults, and we were talking about this off screen.
More mature.
A little bit more mature, because there were scenes where, like, Fairchild's boobs getting big and popping out. Her roommate alone scene was... Well, no, actually, the very first roommate scene, too.
Yeah.
Like, where she's, like, pulling, like, out of her blanket as her panties are showing and stuff like that. Then you have the next scene... Yeah, 15 minutes punishment time, which is honestly was all entertaining too. And it really caught me because I'm like, I kind of seen like it was focusing on the adults, but I still was like, what?
You got the overly foggy shower scene with her and Roxy too.
Yeah,
it's like
with Roxy smoking too.
Yeah, Roxy's constantly smoking.
She says that in like she needs a cigarette.
Well, I loved it when she's running from Helga and Helga's like, no smoking, smoking's bad, and she's running away from Helga. Yeah. Well, that's a really steamy show. I wonder if the person who uploaded this added more steam. Because you really can't
You
even
didn't
make
see
them
them.
out either.
Yeah,
If it wasn't them adding steam to it, they would at least be noticed. Their
more
faces
visible.
would be visible.
Yeah, I was thinking that was like, my God, like you can barely see them. But that's what happens when. So, I mean,
Yeah.
no offense, but it's
So
like,
you're on YouTube, so I'm wondering if this was added by the
yeah,
person who uploaded
and they did
this.
label the title. It's remastered, so there's what that means. It's going to get updated.
Well, it had to be updated from VHS.
Yeah. So let's talk about the twist because it did not shock me one bit.
No.
Well, at least the main twist. The second one was more of a main twist in my eyes rather than the. You literally have one fucking redhead and one blonde person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, come on now. Like, is it really much of a shock?
But you showed the little kids as one is blonde and one is redheaded. It's like, oh, look at that.
And then, like, like, they wanted to make it a surprise because Lynch was like, you don't want to do that. That's your sister.
Yeah.
We're like, the viewer is like, yeah, we know. The more of a twist I thought in my eyes was going back to the opening scene. You have what we appear to be the father and the wife, and then you learn no,
They were friends, kind of deal.
yeah, they were ex-husband and wife, and they were friends because Matthew's father had already died trying to escape. So Steve, which was the ex-wife and I guess that would mean Caitlin's father,
Yeah.
was trying to save them, and that's when they got murdered. So they're half siblings, but that was more of a twist because the opening scene made you feel like this was just 100% a family. When no, the only real family was Matthew and Caitlin. It was just an ex-wife and an ex-husband just working together and being friends to do it. So,
I thought the animation was really great here. I thought the art style looked good. The animation, especially with that 3-on-1 fight at the end,
yeah.
that looked really great, real smooth. Everything was really surprisingly smooth for this movie.
For a film that didn't want to get into theaters and VHS only in like half the reel.
Yeah.
And then had to be remastered on YouTube.
I really enjoyed the artwork too. This was the director was the guy behind Batman the Animated Series, and you can kind of tell.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I instantly thought that too. Was like, it's just a continuous on. Actually, I mean, I never heard much about Gen 13 up until you're mentioning this. I thought it was like more of a Batman tie-in than anything because the graphics were a little bit more of the same. Do we have any?
The voices were really good.
Yeah, though I still had Mark Hamill like 100%. I mean, like Mark Hamill's gonna be Mark Hamill, but like his voice is. I don't know if it's because it's so much associated with that Joker.
Yeah.
That you just want to hear the Joker, or he can't disguise his voice anything else but the Joker.
Yeah, I think this is still very early on in his voiceover days, maybe.
Oh yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, which one's making me associate him with Joker? Was it just because he sounded like a Joker, or he couldn't sound like no other character? I mean, it still gave Matthew I liked it. I'm not saying it wasn't a bad effort. It gave him like a little bit more of a twist, and it almost seems like they kind of dictated that personality into Matthew because like how like psychotic he can be at times, simply when he breaks his trainer's leg.
Yeah, because
he
the
laughed
trainer
at me.
one-upped him.
Yeah. So, I get that. Any cons?
Yeah, we didn't get more. I'd have taken a few more of these. I'd have watched this show as a kid.
The only con I honestly had that gets labeled as con is really just a twist for me. I thought the twist.
That twist was weak, but
yeah, that's
not enough for me to complain about.
No.
Thank you to the two pain in the ass studios who we're in it for the fans, not the money. Oh, fucking shit.
I think everybody when they get the money, they're always in it for the money.
Yeah.
Like that ain't gonna.
Bullshit.
What
is this?
Not gonna lie about that. So overall, great.
I'm gonna give it an A. I really enjoyed it. I really had a great time with it. I like the animation. I like the fights. I will watch it again.
I'm actually sticking with the A as well. Have we agreed on all three of these so far? Like,
Mhm.
our grades have been, what, SSA?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, no, we didn't give Sub-Zero an S. We gave it an A.
But we both gave it the same grade.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're giving it the same grade again. Everything he said I didn't have a problem with. I love the pacing. The only reason for me, and I just stated, is why it's dropping from an S to an A is simply because they really try to make that twist look like it was a big twist, but it's like, no, it's not. Other than that, like, no, you can't really complain about it. I still think they doubled down on themselves by giving it even a twistier twist by saying, like, oh, here's these people you thought were their parents. It's just their mom that was the parent. So that was like a kind of like, oh, I gotta kind of fix the wrong. But other than that, yeah, I thought it was an A. I don't know much about the comic series of Gen 13, but yeah, this was interesting, and yeah, probably deserved a sequel, but we'll never get one.
Nope. Fuck these studios.
So what is the next one on this?
Oh, that's what I just looked up. It's Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker.
Return of the Joker, Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I
figured they would have a couple more
nope.
before they hit the Batman Beyond.
Nope. It's 2 years in between two. 98 Gen 13, and then we go to 2000 Batman Beyond.
Wow. I'm a bit shocked by that. All right. Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. That's up next. Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.